LinuxGameCast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. This week, Microsoft releases a YOLO Controllo with a new microcoating that repels Dorito dust. Geometry Wars 3 finally evolves, but it does lack a bit of resolution. And the world premiere exclusive of Brick Simulator 2015 Turbo Extreme Pro-Am Alpha, the beta, that was posted on my G+ earlier this week.
Stand still. Stand really, really still. And if you wait 2 hours, you might get a Steam trading card. Some developers still haven't taken the hint, and Sigma Game puts out a crappier-looking Zelda clone, and Cryengine finally finishes their OpenGL Render. Substar Citizen, what's going on?
SteamOS liberates the fonts and fixes a few security holes. Massive Callus released an update. And kudos on Double Fine for actually fixing some of those contrived bugs. Frontiers opens part of the sauce. I'm guessing Unity won't let them open all of the bits.
I'm Vince Stone here at LGC Actual, joined every Saturday by this man, ram-eating machine all the way Canada. He is Massa Spag, and from Space Portugal, the great Plage Morizzo himself. And together with Shot Realm Dynamic Live, we form a bit of a cocaine Voltron. Real quick, let's see what's going on in each other's life organs before we get this nightmare fuel started. I am going to say again, repeatedly, I bought another game on Steam. It didn't work. Brilliant. Refund. Got the refund in like 20 minutes. Love it. Absolutely love it. And
I'm guessing you weren't the first one.
yeah, I'm pretty sure I wasn't. What's up, J Baby?
Oh yeah, so I finally ripped apart the PC today, trying to figure out what was causing all those kernel panics. Turns out this little fucker was the culprit that I was shoving in my mouth earlier. Yeah, no, and I got lucky too. I plugged in this DIM just to test if it worked. Wouldn't post. All right, that's my bad DIM. Good times.
I, for one, actually got around to recording a little video that I'm going to be posting alongside an article about Risk of Rain. I almost made it to the end.
Watch it.
I actually got to the very last boss, but I could not beat the motherfucker.
Well, one thing that's never low on memory is the horse, J-Man.
I don't know, man. The horse is just sort of standing there, not really doing much.
Really?
It's our SteamOS update. Yeah, this is Idlemaster. This is not the Japanese child raising game. This is actually a application that lets you idle in Steam games and get all the trading cards.
But they noticed something.
There's been a bit of a change to Steam's policy regarding trading cards. You now have to wait out the 2-hour period to wait out refunds before you can get trading cards, which makes sense because you should actually have to ultimately pay for something that you're going to profit off of in their service. So, I mean, that's really it. It's really just a heads up to the user base. I'm not sure anyone here actually uses the trading cards.
No,
do you?
I didn't even know Idlemaster was a thing. Then I was reading through, I believe, a Reddit thread. I forget which subreddit because this was covered multiple times. And
I think it was like our Steam or something.
Do people actually sit and idle for cards and preferably
They do.
Never underestimate what people will do when there's money involved. Then I got to thinking.
I have a friend who does that, yeah.
I promised there would be no maths, which I didn't, so let's do some maths, because I was thinking, all right, let's say I'm using all 600 watts, all 600 watt organs of my PSU. All right, let's say it's full bore, right? Mm-hmm. And power is currently, let's say 10 cents per kilowatt hour. So you take 0.6 kilowatt hours times 0.10, price per kilowatt times 24 hours times 30 days and a month. That's 43.2 Z wet stinky caches. Maths, bitches. So, wow, how much are those cards worth again, Brad? P-Man? I don't understand.
Most cards sell for around 7 to like 50 cents if you happen to get one of the foil ones. But this is just yet another example of Valve learning the hard way the implications of their new features. We've seen it before when they kind of removed the ability of people to, when people wanted to buy something outside of their current region, like, say, you bought a game from Russia because the ruble is stupidly cheap right now in order to save a couple of bucks.
Putin's gonna kill you if you say that out loud.
Yeah. So then they realized, oh, okay, so we're just going to stop that. And then came the realization that, hey, we don't actually have support for 90% of the currencies used around the world right now. And this is just yet another one. They introduced the Steam refunds, and people were just idling in the games, getting the Steam cards, and then selling them for a profit. And you could actually get a profit, because at that point you would be getting your money back for the game itself.
But not for the electricity unless you run.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah,
but anyways, I'm feeling a bit free and breezy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
you can see clearly
just a little
now.
bit. Yes, it's the new SteamOS update 161. Yeah, it's a new Alchemist. They fixed a bunch of stuff, and they introduced the Liberation fonts, which for me is actually a great thing, because I'm one of those people that does not like bad kerning in fonts, and the Liberation fonts actually work around that really well. But besides the whole fonts thing, they've fixed a bunch of exploits, and there are a couple of CVE links you might want to have a look at that they have fixed now, including P7zip, OpenSSL,
that was one of the nice
and
things. They actually do tell you what these updates do fix, which is a lot. Most distributions actually don't do that. They're just like, hey, there's an update. Steam actually has the nice grace to say, hey, by the way, we're fixing all these CVEs. I mean, Liberation fonts are all right. They come. I was actually surprised. What kind of fonts were they packaging with Alchemist before?
It was just the centered ones. I can't remember the exact one they're using for Steam.
Yeah,
but it wasn't very good when it came to the
Calibri for Steam, actually.
Well, it's always nice to see SteamOS getting updated. So, pixels everywhere.
Oh, yes, pixels. So, we love hipster pixel games.
Love them.
And we love procedurally generated hipster pixel games.
Better.
That rip off core concepts from other pixel games.
Throw in a little partial control.
This is Legends of Pixelia. And it is a procedurally generated early access. Take a shot. Dungeon crawler, much in the vein of Legend of Zelda or Binding of Isaac. And check out the price on Brad, $15 for a game that you can download for free from romdownloader.com if you really want to play Legend of Zelda. The good thing is you don't actually even need a processor, RAM, or a video card. You just need a hard drive. And an Ubuntu CD.
You need an OS and a hard drive. That's it.
What is it supposed to be? It's just a role-playing game, right? Mm-hmm.
It's
Up next.
Up next, yes.
It's
massive.
The massive.
And Pedro
update,
can't pronounce chalice.
Chalice.
Yes, it's callus. I've always heard it said callus, so I don't really know.
A callus
some people
is
say
what I've
chalice.
developed on my foot.
Honestly, this is a whole bunch of new updates of some very contrived bugs that Double Fine, or I'm guessing the user base, managed to find. Everyone never really ran into any crashes or anything, but the issues I did run into were not exactly I'm guessing at this point they were probably a design choice and not a bug itself, because if you go back to last week, I didn't exactly enjoy the game. But yeah, they fixed a bunch of issues with like specific types of enemies attacking your drunk characters, and it would make the game crash if you had saved the game during a tactical battle. Yeah,
they did actually fix one of the breeding mechanics where negative trait or opposite traits will actually cancel each other out in the kids. Yeah. That was one thing I did notice when breeding, was that sometimes stuff didn't cancel out properly.
Yeah, and the only thing I noticed, I looked at it and I was like, oh, is it still turn-based trait? Yep, all right, never mind. So.
Yep.
But you gotta stop being such a square then.
Oh, man, Geometry Wars gets free evolved, of course. This is supposed to happen like 2 months ago, I believe, right?
Yeah, 3 months later!
What does this do? If you've never heard of Geometry Wars, it's bullet hell with geometry and wars and pews, and it's from my friends at Aspire, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
They did do the port for Mac and Linux.
Right, and they got around to this, and this thing has just been fugly. because you didn't have a regular
720p.
right. And looking at that on a 28-inch 4K display, I mean, it's just like, "Brr." Here's one bug that I have right now. It might be because of the way I have my X screen set up, but I can't get anything over like some 1344 random moon resolution. I can't even get it to go to 1080.
Weird.
That's really weird because it did 1080p just fine for me.
I still don't get why people are complaining about resolutions on a game that is literally shapes.
Hey man,
shapes. Oh no, my triangles aren't high definition enough. Whatever will I do? Ah!
Hey man, you just need to be more tri-positive, all right? But
listen, you got to be stop being such a quadrilateral.
But we do need a hero. Hero Siege is
So this is Hero Siege. It is another one of these. I don't actually think this is an early access game. This is just a dungeon. It is a $1.50 hack and slash crawler, similar to Diablo, I guess, but with pixels. It actually kind of reminds me of
the font off of Diablo, yeah.
Yeah, but one thing I did notice is, holy shit, there's so much shit going on the screen constantly. I wasn't able to follow what the hell is actually happening. But they do have an update. They've added some multiplayer fixes. One of the big ones was you can actually, because it does support network multiplayer, in the chat you can actually link items, which was a nice feature I noticed in Diablo 3, where you could, in the group chat, just say, here's the item I have. How does it stack up with the rest of your gear? Do you want it? Yes, no.
Jordan, I know you don't like MMOs, but most MMOs have actually had that for a while now.
Well, I didn't fucking know that because I don't play Warcraft or Neverwinter Nights or whatever the fuck you're talking about. Anyways, apparently they had an issue with the parrot for the pirate following the wrong player. And they fixed the Devil's Head crash, whatever that means.
Finally, that's really what I've been waiting on. No, we picked this up. We'll eventually get into reviewing it, but I mean, it still has some small bugs. Like cheap, so, yeah. The only way to install the DLC is to run the game via Wine. And install the DLC. Yes,
because fuck you.
Little things like that just might throw you off outside of the procedurally generated hipster pixel goodness that is this game.
With so much garbage on the screen, my god, I just can't get over it.
This thing is definitely hard for the sake of being hard. I call it the run backwards simulator because that's what you'll find yourself
So it's
doing.
Realm of the Mad God with slightly less pixely graphics.
Yeah. Sure. All right, well, I guess that wraps up the Steam news section. Coming up next, we got some driver shit, as usual. Shock and awe. Shock and awe.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, zombie demon hordes of the internet, it's the news. And in true LGC fashion, we start with some drivers.
Yes, we do. It's new NVIDIA drivers. This is from our friend Aaron Plattner. He posted this on the NVIDIA driver forums. But they released the 3.5.21 drivers, which were actually released in beta a while ago. This is just the formalizing of the release of the drivers. They had some OpenGL extensions. They had some support for the 980 Ti, which, goddamn, I kind of want and I can afford. No, Jordan! Bad, other Jordan. Just, no, stop. Stop right now. Yeah, they have a couple bug fixes. They fixed some stuff with NVIDIA settings and what was it? Oh yeah, base mosaic, which is something that you don't have to deal with unless you're dealing with a Quadro or Tesla card, which is great because we want those quad mosaic features in Linux.
I'm personally just like, where is our support from Mir, the ultimate Windows manager? That'll probably never happen. But P-Man, you had some issues that were fixed,
yes,
right?
Yes, I did. The NVIDIA settings fix that Jordan already mentioned, it was actually affecting me during the beta. There were a couple of issues that if I started the NVIDIA-settings-L at boot, it would actually reset the entire driver configurations and would screw up all my gamma and contrast configurations. They've actually fixed that. It's kind of awesome because the whole thing was just throwing a hissy fit. So
what I realized was that for Pedro, getting actual driver fixes in his driver updates must be an entirely brand new thing.
It is! It really is!
It's kind of awesome, but some of you
But
may remember.
you know what? I think AMD has them beat. Why don't you tell them about it, Pedro?
Yeah, that's the thing. On my old calculator, I used to have an AMD graphics chip, and now they're
Did
coming
you have
out
a Fury
with
X? I mean Fury X. Jesus Christ.
the Furix, yes.
Furix.
But yeah, this is
Send your hate mail to Liam at gamingonlinux.com.
These are the new AMD cards. They have vertical stacked memory and a whole bunch of new things that allows the PCB to actually be a hell of a lot shorter than usual. Now, they have sort of promised the support for DirectX 12 and Vulkan and OpenGL 4.5 and OpenGL
Well, what the hell is
3.1?
Extreme Gaming Period 3?
Fuck all if I know.
Well,
but
it's better than Extreme Gaming Period 2, obviously.
Right?
they've introduced a whole bunch of new shit, and I was looking at the pitch and I'm like, so that's all for the Windows drivers, right? Because I don't see Linux mentioned in there anywhere.
See, but Pedro, that's par for the course with any AMD driver development period. All this awesome new shit on Windows.
And, well, yeah, it's kind of, we were talking about that during segments, is we want AMD to be good sauce. We do.
We
want
really do.
competition
It would be beautiful if you
nice.
could just plug in a video card, and it works.
I know.
Yeah.
But,
And AMD is in a position where they could literally compete with both Intel and Nvidia. And they fucking don't because they can't figure out their fucking firmware.
Yeah, maybe if they sign it and encrypt it, it'll fix all their problems.
just remember when we actually get the benchmarks, independently scored benchmarks, whatever they score, just cut that in half, and it only works 25% of the time. All
Brought
right.
to you by Phoronix.
Update.
Up next! This is Cryengine. They have announced that they have finally completed, for Cryengine 8 or 381, they have completed their OpenGL renderer, and they are now officially supporting Linux as a platform. What's that, Star Citizen? How's it going? How's your sex life?
No.
Made any progress on that Linux support, bro?
We never said anything about Linux support, bro.
No, you have no excuse now. Your engine supports it.
We might have
with that 100
mentioned
gig
it, but
download
we're not
Linux.
100% on that because we're waiting for that OpenGL render to work, Brad. Then we'll do it.
Yeah, no, and then we got some middleware issues because our sound library is a piece of software shipped in from Tanzania that Linux never wrote. That's only available on OS
It's
10,
really
of
one of like the
course.
things I'm thinking about Star Citizen because they can't go down the road of like, well, we don't have the budget for it. Rolling money.
I mean, it's better late than never.
Hopefully they'll keep good to their word because the only reason they said, well, it never really worked, and that was kind of a revelation from them about the current state of Cryengine at the time because we were like, oh, okay, well, fair enough. Now it does,
Can't expect
Brad.
you to work with something that doesn't
Now
work.
it does. So, I just hope they don't. It's like, well, we need to invent some middleware that doesn't work on Linux real quick. So,
Yeah. Hopefully this will result in a couple of the existing CryEngine games getting ported to Linux. I actually really want to play Blood Dragon because it looks like a proper Kung Fury video game, but that's just me.
Maybe.
YOLO!
all right, YOLO controller. Microsoft announces the Xbox One Elite controller, EP extender for Windows 10, which basically means it'll work on Linux next week. This will give you the ultimate precision needed to auto-aim. Guaranteed. The only thing I really like about this is the little switchy thingies on the bottom. I was like, that would be handy for racing.
That screams of Steam controller right there.
Yep.
How so? Then when I see
because
that,
the Steam controller have those extra triggers on the handles. And that's exactly what they're doing.
what about the ones under here?
Yeah, those are the ones I'm talking about. It's the ones in the back of the handles. The Steam controller actually has those, besides the whole left shoulder, right trigger.
But this thing is actually produces Mountain Dew while you play.
Okay.
Well,
I
in
think
addition to that
can
feature, if you actually look in the comments, there are a couple people actually complaining the D-pad doesn't really work because apparently Microsoft can spend 10 years actually trying to develop a controller, and they still can't figure out a D-pad. And of course, it can be yours for the low price of $150.
Yeah, you see that kind of sorts some things out, because I was like, I don't really want to drop 60 quid on that Steam controller. This thing comes out and it's like, looks like I'm going to be dropping 60 quid on that Steam controller.
Yeah, and when it comes to the D-pad, like Jordan was mentioning, the Sony guys, I have my DualShock 2 controller plugged into the Steam box right now. It's amazing.
I got a DualShock
that
3 here for
D-pad
visual
is
reference.
awesome. It's really freaking good.
Okay, enough of the Ds.
They got that right at the PS1, so... Yeah.
Indies, unite.
Yes, Indies Unite.
Yes,
This comes from the groupies.com.
Groupies. Where can they find that stuff?
Yeah, you can find them at groupies.com/unite. You'll be able to find all these links in the show notes, as usual. But this is a new bundle from the groupies, which, if you don't know who they are, they're like a sort of humble competitors, so to speak. They do a whole bunch of themed bundles all throughout the months.
Well, this one's got a theme.
But yeah, this one's got a really big thing. It's the Humbles Unite, all for one and one for all, in support of the devs impacted by the Desura failure.
Burn.
And I just love the wording. I love the wording on that. It was like a slap across Bad Juju's face. Awesome.
Let's take a look at this. This deal is going to end in 8 days. There's a couple of games in here. What do we got? 3, 6, 12.
Gun World for the PC entertainment system.
You got Epilogue. Let's see.
Spellcasting. Oh, finally we get Mr. Makeshifter and
Manor of the Damned. And more surprises to come.
Spellcasting 101.
Gentlemen, this is really all I need to say about this, I believe. I'm in favor of this. I mean, this is good. It was not bad, you know. But I kind of hate to say that most games that were on Desura kind of belong there, maybe, question marks.
Yeah, it's not too impressive in offering. These games seem to be just people who, I mean, to their credit, they got completely screwed over by Bad Juju, right. They are well within their rights to try and recoup that money in any way, shape, or form, because they're not getting it from those guys. I'll tell you that. No. Still, I mean, if you want to support, really, this is more about the principle. It's not like any of these games are phenomenal, spectacular, but if you kind of want to stick it to the Desura and help some struggling devs out, that's there for you.
Right on. Yep. About this
and
Reaper.
Now,
what is it?
We go to the frontiers. This is the very last game I ever backed on Kickstarter. The original idea was to have something like The Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall, which had a big focus on exploration and everything else. Not so much the combat. It was mostly around exploration, and the guy was like, I want to make a game like that. But it is a Unity game, which was what kind of shocked me that this showed up on GitHub. I'm like, huh.
Well, to be fair,
this is a Unity game on GitHub.
To be fair, he does outright say in the README, I cannot upload the entire source because I don't own any of this, half of this stuff. So he's only uploading what he does have control over. He does mention that he's trying to talk to people to see if he can get some other stuff put on the GitHub as well, so you can just download it and build it with Unity Personal Edition. It's an alright idea, I suppose. It's certainly good for extending the life of your game, because it means that it's no longer dependent on you personally developing it, but I don't know.
But since we're a Linux gaming podcast, I think it's worth mentioning that the fact that this game is not working really well with Linux right now. He's had some issues, namely with controllers, because it's a Unity engine game. Of course, it's going to have issues. But yeah, he's been having some issues with the Linux builds. He's sort of managed to keep them on par with the Windows. And it's both the Windows and Mac builds that have been having issues. So for once, we're not, the only ones getting shafted. Mac is getting shafted as well. But I really want to see this game get good, so to speak, because having an Elder Scrolls type thing with a focus on exploration more so than the combat is something that appeals to me. It was something that appealed to me back then when I spent 35 euros backing this game on Kickstarter. So yeah, I want to see this one go.
You know, they made a few quid, man. 157,000 went stinky, so...
They actually got the multiplayer stretch goal, which was kind of awesome.
Okay,
So,
let's talk about something I enjoy, and that's flying.
Into buildings?
Buildings, it's brilliant.
Hi, NSA.
Boulder, an open-source flight simulator for aerial drones, written entirely in S. It is currently a Linux-only project.
in Python.
It's written in S. And it's an extension of the Morse robotics simulator, which, all right, kind of looks neat. Maybe if you want to fly around with your quad. I kind of danced with myself trying to figure out, like, what would be the actual use case for this? Because I have a friend who's nuts with quads, and I've wrecked a few of his. But even if it's the same quad, they will fly differently. And I was like, maybe if you just want to get an idea of, like, front's front and make sure, you know, put some tape on which side is facing, you know, the enemy so you don't go, oh, well, boom, right into the ground. Not that I've ever done that. I don't know. Play with it. It's free. I didn't bother to install it, but it looks like, you know, it's got 2D flight trajectory, accurator values, rotor
I started
speeds.
looking at the requirements, and I started
See,
looking
here's
at
a
all
perfect
the Python.
example of my flight path, but it would be in reverse.
Explosions!
I actually tried.
I'm a licensed pilot. Sleep well knowing that.
started getting it to work, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? This sounds like too much work.
It's a flight simulator, so I have no interest in this whatsoever. It is nice that it's there. It's certainly a cool little project if you're into drone flying. So
Yeah, I mean,
check it out.
it's priced to sell and Linux only. Gotta love that part. But now we have to talk
But
about that.
incoming Kickstarter.
I know. Kickstarter in 3,
Yes.
2. I finally got a chance to play with Brick Simulator 2015 Turbo Extreme Pro-Am Alpha the Beta from Michael Fox, and well, it seems legit. It does what it saes on the tin.
Well,
And it works.
given the developer, it does explain the shaky performance under Linux.
Oh, no, we're going. But apparently some French people had issues with it, along with the Canadian.
Oh no, I got that sorted out. I linked the wrong OpenSSL lib, but yeah, no, it runs. It's written in the Godot engine, so, and it's going to be a Linux exclusive.
It's actually nice to see somebody using Godot. So, P-Man, do you have any thoughts, since allegations?
Yeah,
since
it's both Godot and Blender.
Ah,
Good times. Yeah. No, I actually got it to work. Just like Jordan, I had to symlink the OpenSSL and libcrypto to the correct versions because this was built on OpenSUSE Tumbleweed. So keep that in mind if you do decide to give it a go.
One of their 12 users, yes.
Yes.
But you know what? Get ready for the Kickstarter and the loads and scads of DLC.
Steam Greenlight.
well, here's the thing. You're going to be able to get... You can get the DLC before the game launches if you pre-order.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But you can only pre-order at 7-Eleven after purchasing a Mountain Dew. Up next, we throw chairs at America Planet. No, that was terrible. Why did I even go there?
Freedom Fries.
As a bonus for the LGC drinking game, every time we mention the words Sonic, Tails, or Knuckles, take a shot. You will not survive. Welcome back! We are throwing chairs at Freedom Planet from Galaxy Trail Media. This is a game apparently built on the Multimedia Fusion engine, renowned for looking like a crappier version of a Genesis game. And what is it? Well, according to the show notes, we got to prepare the Snatcher, but it's basically as you will soon discover, it is Sonic the Hedgehog. So, like all games that face the Chairquisition, it faces the Chairquisition. 1 chair means that it's garbage, 2 chairs means that it's meh, 3 chairs means that it's pretty good, and 4 chairs means that it's awesome. And of course, we have our categories of Doom, mixed with working, shiny sounds, control, and fun. So, let's kick this off. Then, did Freedom Planet make with the working?
How did blatant Sonic ripoff game 2015 actually work on the Ubuntu 1404 LTS 980 powered 4K display box of business? Well, again, I find myself saying, unfortunately, it ran. So, no issues, really. Well, there's some issues, but we have a category for the exact issues this game suffers from. We give it 4 chairs. I don't think we're going to see a lot more of that.
Yeah, there are loads of issues, but yeah. On the Fedora 22 box of business with the NVIDIA GTX 980 4K display and the AMD 1090Ti processor at 3.4 gigajoules, that gets 4 chairs. It runs fine, but, I mean, it's just so graphically demanding. My 980 can barely keep up with it.
Barely. Yeah, on the Corora 21 64-bit FX 8370E, overclocked at 4 GHz, and the GTX 970 Strix, the game ran out of the box, so I can't really complain about that one. 4 chairs.
All right, so that's 4 chairs for Mixed with the Working. Up next is the Shiny and the Sounds. Then
Shiny and Sounds. Well, if you're watching this after we've clipped in me playing the game, you will notice that, well, it's a pixelated mess. There are no resolution options. So not only do we have a pixelated mess, we have a scaled pixelated mess at 4K. Oh man, it just melts your eye pussies. And I was thinking to myself, well, maybe you need to sit further back. And I was like, okay. Fortunately, the X-Clone controller is like 4 meters of cord, which is just redonkulous, but it's there. So I sat all the way back on the little couch here in the studio. Still looked like pixelated goo. And what's up with that transition animation? Once you run up a bit of a hill and you go to a level area, it doesn't do anything except rotate the sprite. I mean, it looks so, it's like, boop, yeah. That was laughable. Yes, there's sounds. I guess the voice acting's all right, but it's all over the fucking place. Quality-wise, nothing to really report on that. And it does have background noise, but nothing that you're going to remember from Sonic, which was produced by Michael Jackson. Maybe you didn't know that. There's a pro tip for you. So for Shiny and Sounds, I'm going to have to give this business 2 chairs.
I actually did know that Michael Jackson did the soundtrack for Sonic the Hedgehog. He did a lot of stuff back in the late 80s, early 90s.
That's just ignorant.
You're ignorant. Sorry, I got to go bleach my face even more. Actually, you're probably the one person here whiter than Michael Jackson. Anyways.
That's racist.
Anyways, for Shiny and Sounds, this game does take a lot of the Sonic the Hedgehog playbook. A lot! As in, like, it's almost the same palette. I was quite surprised this was a different game. I think Yuji Naka is going to sue somebody. That's just my opinion on that. The running in the game, and I'll get to this a little bit more in the fun section, but it looks slow. How are you supposed to... How do you gotta go fast when your camera's just moving? And, I mean, it is fully voice acted. It still is weird for me hearing voice acting in a pixel game just because that shit ain't right. But, I mean, it's mediocre at best, as Pedro will get into. Some of the voice actors are clearly using better microphones than the others. So I'll give this 2 chairs. That's all.
Yeah. So to start us off with, let's say, look at all the hipster pixel. It's like Jordan mentioned, some of the voice actors sound louder and crisper than others. It's actually glaring in the cutscene after you beat the first boss. The main characters sound really low. The voice actress, you can barely hear her compared to the guy that plays the duck. It's annoying at that point. The music is, well, it's kind of like Sonic's, except like Fed and Jordan already mentioned, it wasn't produced by Michael Jackson, and it kind of sucks. All the Typhoon, yeah, managed to get this game muted way before the half-hour mark, and I cannot, for the life of me, give it 1 chair because the sounds do sound and the graphics do graph. So, but I will give it the least possible score I can because it's not very good. 2 chairs.
An Arby's coupon? Oh, 2 chairs. So that's 2 chairs for Shiny and Sounds. Up next is Control, where I doubt we'll also get an Arby's coupon.
Yeah.
You do not get any free bite-sized Snickers with the purchase of this game, unfortunately. Using the X-Clone controller, after a bit of fuckery, it did manage to work. Out of the box, nothing. You can molest these buttons all you want, nothing moves. And you use your arrow organs on your keyboard organ, you move around. Then you go to controls that I manually mapped, like, up. That's all I did. Then I went back to the main menu, then everything worked. And when I mean worked, I mean failed mothering miserably. Okay, jump. Maybe, if I was doing a Sonic-style platformer, I would spend some time making sure when I hit jump, I don't know, call me a betting man, made the character jump. Well, maybe 1 out of every 5 times it would just not jump, and that would more than often than not end up getting you killed to death. Nowhere on the page I checked did it say it had intermittent controller support. Nowhere. So I was very unhappy with that. Moving left and right, yes, that does work, but it is, to quote Pedro, as he often says, floaty as fuck. I mean, this is the game I was like, that's a valid description of how this handles. And I guess you could play it with a keyboard, but you're going to hear some things about the keyboard, and then maybe they're not so good either. But if I've been playing something like this, so you want to sit down and play on your Steam box, get a very low-budget Sonic experience for twice the price, this is going to deliver it, except for getting killed to death when it just doesn't register jump. It is a valid problem, and if you look in their form organs, you'll see this is a very valid problem. So I'm going to give this one shot because it's busted if you can't use one of the key mechanics reliably in something that's called a platformer.
I have 3 controllers on my desk. Actually, I had 4 controllers on my desk previously. I moved one to the other room. But that's how many times it took for me to actually get a working controller in this game. I tried the Turbo Seizure controller, didn't work. I tried the Hori controller, no worky. I eventually caved and I tried plugging in this freaking DualShock 3 to see if it only took direct input. No. Eventually, I just said on a whim, does this beat up freaking Xbox controller actually work? Yes, it does, because it is a legit Xbox controller. So for the longest, so I actually played through about 10 minutes of this game using just the keyboard, and it's miserable. So bad. It's like playing on an emulator, like back in 1999. With actual controller support, it works well enough. I didn't run into that issue with jump that Ven did. But, I mean, 4 controllers. If 1 out of 4 actually works, that's fucking terrible. How do you expect people to platform with this? Pedro didn't get it working, and he'll get into that a bit more. But, I mean, it's the controls are just basic. It's standard 3-button, attack, jump, special. There's various combinations of buttons you can press to get additional effects. One thing that bugged me is you can't crouch and charge up your thing like in Sonic. That was a thing I constantly tried to do because I kept getting Sonic flashbacks for this game. And yeah, it's just bad, man. With like working controller, I'd maybe give it 2-3 chairs, but you made me work for this, so fuck you, 1 chair.
Yeah, this is a Sonic-like platformer that in the first 9 minutes that I tried to play this game, it missed well over 10 of my jumping keystrokes. And controllers? Fuck your controllers, because I tried the DualShock with the Xbox DRV kernel module, set it to emulate the Xbox 360 controller. It didn't work. I tried it with the NVIDIA controller. Guess what? It didn't work. They were not even detected. It's the menus, you couldn't scroll with the controller, you couldn't do anything. It's completely and outright busted. So I had to play this game with a keyboard, and it still missed keystrokes. I'm like, okay, I'm coming up to a ledge. I'll just push the jumping button right now and hope that I don't miss the ledge. Nope! Completely ignores it, just fell right down onto some spikes, as usual. So, I'm like, okay, so if I'm going to play this with the keyboard, I might as well reassign the jump button to the spacebar, because the jump button is the spacebar. That's what you're used to. I'm like, okay, let's just push the spacebar, reassign the controls. What's that? You'd like to reassign the controls? Haha. Fuck you. Nope, not going to happen. Alrighty then. That's one chair for the controls for this game.
Alright, so that's one chair for controls. Shock among shocks. And finally, our subjective category. The one that you've been waiting for. Fun. Ben, did you have fun?
I did. I had absolute fun when I quit playing this monstrosity. This, at best, I think genuinely at best, you could call this a shameless Sonic clone. There is zero originality in this game whatsoever, even down to having the same enemies. The jump springs, that twisty business that Sonic goes through. It has everything that Sonic had, except decent graphics, or the sense of speed, or anything like that. I mean, it handles so poorly with your controller organ, and apparently it's busted on the keyboard organ as well. I don't like it. Well, it did get 60 frames per second, but that doesn't matter. And kind of like one thing J-Man brought up, when you just a shameless ripoff of Sonic, you expect it to do things like Sonic. Like when I'm heading down a hill, I should be able to hit down and turn into a little ball and speed up. No, that's not there. But fortunately, with the female protagonist, you can jump and skip half the level and save yourself some nightmare fuel. And on top of that, they want 14 wet, stinky caches for this, which is laughable. Completely laughable. I had no fun with this. I actually had so little fun with this, I recorded a little bit of a play session that'll release after the review. So I'll give this one chair.
Yeah, let's ignore for... I wrote half of this stuff back when the controller wasn't working, but I mean, fuck it. Let's just ignore for a second that this is a 2-bit Sonic the Hedgehog knockoff. You expect me to platform without the use of a controller. You expect Pedro to platform without the use of a controller. Have you seen his hands, man? That's just cruel and unusual punishment. But going back, this game really does fall short of capturing the Sonic and Knuckles and Tails experience. Take those shots. I mean, like Ven said, going off what I said earlier, you'd expect like it to be speedy. There's like the little ribbony bits. You expect to go fast across those. No, you sort of walk at a leisurely pace. That's actually the tempo of this game, really. Leisurely pace. And actually, Ven, both protagonists are women. But yeah, the first one, the flying chick, you can bypass, like, I would say, probably 80% of the level of any given level just by flying. I mean, if you play the second character, you gotta walk on the ground, you gotta charge up the jump pads and find bikes and shit like that. I guess that's the equivalent of difficulty in this game. No idea. But the biggest crime this game has is that it's boring. It's not fun. I play games in my spare time to just fuck off and enjoy myself. This is just terrible, not fun, Sonic bullshit, and it deserves one chair, which it gets.
Yeah, actually, Jordan brought up a good point. Having to add some sort of artificial difficulty to your game, like, say if you're playing the second character and you have to find the jerry cans in order to get the bike, that's actually something I had not considered, but that's just pretty bad. But my point is, running the risk of pissing all over someone's favorite furry game, and trust me when I say that I have nothing against fursons or their fursonas, this could have been a competent Sonic and Knuckles clone. It very well could have. It has the two characters with slightly different abilities that allow you to reach different parts of each level, and you kind of have to beat bosses a different way. Unfortunately, whatever positives it may have had are knocked right back down with graphics that make the Genesis look competent and incongruent voice acting, like I mentioned earlier, and borderline non-functioning controllers. $15 when it's not on sale is not a very acceptable price, especially when the game is this busted. Fuck no. One chair.
All right, so that's one chair for fun and one chair for the game in total. I think we've talked this game to death. Just don't buy it. Do you guys have anything to add?
Nope. You're clear.
One thing I would definitely want to say is, as shit as the Sonic games have become, and are trash talked about, they are still volumes beyond whatever this nightmare fuel is attempting to be.
You heard it first here, ladies and gentlemen. Freedom Planet is worse than Sonic 06.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the hate mail. But before we get to that, as usual, I'd like to get a little point across. If you'd like to get in touch with us, go on over to LinuxGameCast.com, push that lovely contact button on the navbar, fill out the form, and send us your message. Now, remember, if you're trying to promote whatever game, Steam Greenlight, Indiegogo, Kickstarter, whatever, just make sure to send us either a build that we can play, or some Steam keys, or Humble keys,
or a check.
Or I don't know, itch.io keys.
Actually, speaking of which, you know it's a better way to get us to listen to you? Check out our Patreon page.
Oh, what do you
Oh,
do there?
yeah. That's kind of awesome.
yeah.
And we actually have a new patron this week, don't we?
We do. Gaius Baltar, the man responsible for the downfall of the 12 colonies and driving humanity to near extinction, has backed us for 50 cents. So good on you, Mr. Baltar. Good on you. But of course, if you like the show and you want to help us out, we very rarely get games sent to us, so we usually buy them. We have to pay for hosting. We have to pay for this Rainbow Bridge. Any little bit helps, and if you can't give us, if you can't afford to give us anything, just spread the word. Tell your friends, tell your dog, tell your neighbors. Go to the police station, turn yourself into for a crime you did not commit, and tell them that you will confess only if you watch Linux Gamecast Weekly live every Saturday. But as you were saying, Pedro.
Yes, no, it's Linux Gamecast, the hate mail. It's my personal favorite segment of the week. And this week, we didn't really get a lot of hate mail, just the one from
we got
Mr.
a good one.
Yeah, the Garduck. He threw a comment on the Linux Early Access Busted Ass show. Or
Linux something. It's our show,
yeah,
we named it.
It's one of those. And he said two things. First, this is an old buggy-ass version that looked prettier, but was junk on the inside. It's been torn apart and rebuilt. You need to switch to the open beta in the Steam client. Second, the new version runs far smoother. The lack of good performance you're experiencing is part of the reason that version that was scrapped. I think the reason they kept this was as the main version was that it was prettier. Oh, and third, what the fuck you gotta be so rude? Dagron? Really?
Okay, so I just gotta say, if this is the prettier version, then I don't want to see the beta. Because this game is ugly. But,
look at that menu. I mean, it's brilliant.
Yes.
Actual in-game.
Actual gameplay footage I personally recorded on my system. But let's go back and address some of the other points. Number one, so these developers, in their infinite wisdom, have decided that they're going to put their busted, unmaintained branch of this game as the primary one that I went and downloaded. You see, I actually bought this game a number of weeks ago, and I had been meaning to play it, and they actually had released the beta after the fact, as a matter of fact. But the whole point of early access is it gets constant updates of new features and all that stuff. I've never heard of any game saying, oh yeah, here's the 6 branches that we have. Pick one and see if it works. No, that's stupid. You're stupid. Number two, what was this even on about? It really doesn't matter, because my first point really encapsulates.
Well, what's Brad? He's trying to get across. He's like, but you got to understand, after you buy the game, you have to go to the forums or read the news and find out that you need to get into the open beta, and that makes perfect sense. I don't understand what the confusion is.
It does. You don't want the game that people download right off the bat to be the misrepresentative one. That's stupid.
No, not at all.
But if you have a problem with Dagron, obviously you have not watched enough Homestar Runner, and you need to go do that. I was actually this close away from calling it Sean Connery Simulator, but I figured that would be a better reference. But what the hell do I know? I just am on a Linux gaming.
Yeah, and if you're wondering the chat, this is more of a continuation of that thread that everyone
you can watch the entire thing, or you can read the entire thing on YouTube. Unlike these wonderful people, I'm smart enough to not respond to YouTube comments, but they're not. So you guys have fun.
I kind of did, and I kind of use a couple of analogies.
You know what that makes you, Pedro? A moron. Just like this guy.
I mean, they were cohesive analogies at the very least. If you're saying that I have to put work onto something, that's like putting your hands onto an open flame and saying, oh yeah, it gets better later on when your nervous system finally shuts down from all the burned skin kind of falling out. Yeah. Nope.
Sorry, what were we talking about? I'm hungry now.
And on that bombshell, let's cue the music. You can always find us around 9:30 Eastern Standard Moon Time. Just type in time, Athens, Georgia. You'll find it. It's brilliant. Join us live. Get in there with Chat Realm, the worst of the worst, the trolliest of trolls. I'm Ben Stone, cleverly disguised on the Twitter nets, plus Ben Stone on the G+s.
I'm Jordan Svung, and I'm slightly less moist at the Burning Fool on Twitter, or plus Jordan Svung on Google+.
I am Plage Marizzo, also known as Pedro Mateos. You can find me at Unaccounted4 on Twitter or plus Pedro Mateos on Google+.
I guess at the end of the day, we can just hope that next week, Canada will remain dry.
Oh,
I see
Canada.
Spill something else.
Oh, Canada.
My dignity. That's what I suppose.
That probably should be a bloopers, because we could actually see your thoughts. Like, all right, I can deal with this. No, I don't think I can deal with this. I can't deal with this.
Yeah. 5 dudes.